option giving quick results, and antibody test showing if you've ever had coronavirus and if you could now be immune. Joe lets you know the concerns over who is giving those tests, most of which have not been approved by the government.
They are antibody tests for COVID-19 popping up at clinics like this one in Scottsdale for $60 and at another in Gilbert for $100. A quick blood test not for current virus, but to determine if you've had it in the past and could be immune in the future.
I think there are some potential concerns here.
Dr. Bobby Pritt is a clinical microbiologist with Mayo Clinic. Right now, about 70 manufacturers are on a Food and Drug Administration list to make and distribute the test, but only one has been evaluated and approved by the FDA.
So it's a bit more uncertain about how those tests perform.
The Food and Drug Administration is allowing these unapproved antibody tests under certain conditions, including the manufacturers determined their tests are accurate and reliable.
You have to have the skills and abilities to really evaluate tests if you're going to be bringing them in without that FDA oversight.
Dr. Pritt says Mayo Clinic tested hundreds of specimens to come up with 2 antibody tests they trust. She says if a small clinic has the experts to oversee and validated the tests, great.
But if they didn't, then that could be concerning because they may be getting false negative and false positive results and not even know it.
One example, Pritt says by the time we're adults, 90% of us have antibodies related to coronavirus because it's also linked to the common cold.
So when you say something's positive, does that really mean that the patient has COVID-19? Or do they have some other virus that's cross-reacting?
The FDA says there are 3 things providers should not tell you: that the test can be done at home. They can't. That the antibody test determines current COVID-19. It doesn't. And their test is FDA approved when it's not. So we did our own test.
It has gone through trials and through FDA.
We called a couple of local clinics. Both told us their antibody tests were not approved.
And this would work for somebody who thinks they have it right now.
And while one correctly told us their test does not indicate current COVID-19, the other was confused, saying it depends. Dr. Pritt says a hospital lab setting may be best for these tests. She says the fact the FDA hasn't approved the test isn't the real issue. She says Mayo's tests weren't FDA approved. The issue is having the proper people in place to read the test and validating the test to make sure they're accurate. Go to KGUN9.com for all of our virus-related stories. I'm investigator Joe Ducey. If you got a problem, let me know.